Hello, everybody. Welcome to All Villa, No Filler. Please remember to subscribe to the show, underlining the subscribe. My goodness. Oof. Phew. That was close. Oh, my goodness. There was a period of time in that game where I just thought, is this going to be like another one of the cup games we've had this season where Villa turn up, we're not really at it, kind of underwhelm a little bit, and then just somehow lose 1-0. But full credits this Aston Villa team. They're made of different stuff these days, aren't they? The Villa team of old, the Villa team I've grown up with my entire life. In most years I've watched Villa in my entire life, would have lost that game 1-0. But tonight, we had the quality of player and the depth in our squad to bring on players who could make a difference. Players who just have that world-class quality to do things that make the difference that all top quality teams need, really. So to start off with, fast start, really good, exactly what you want to see. Good atmosphere, get a goal from Clement Longley, and then somehow it's offside. I need to see the official rule book to understand why it was offside when the Alkmaar player headed it away and it came to Bailey, but I'm sure there's it was given offside, so I'm sure there's a reason it was. But it was a good start, a good sign. But then I think Alkmaar showed what I kind of suspected would happen was that when we battered them, I felt that Alkmaar got their shape totally wrong, right away from home. But it was in the last half an hour of that game when we were already 4-0 up, I think it was. And then they pulled it back to 4-1. Alkmaar looked a lot better. And they looked more threatening and created a bit more. And I thought, okay, I think that's a little bit more like what we'll probably see at Villa Park. I think what they're going to do is they're not going to come out at us too hard, but they're going to try and sit back, hold the line, and then hit us on the break over the high line. Not too dissimilar to what Nottingham Forest did the other day. And to be honest, the game was quite similar to what Forest did, in that Villa had a lot of possession, didn't do a lot in the final third. Alkmaar won the ball back, had a couple of spells of really nice football as they got more into the game, gained more confidence. And there were a couple of spells at the end of that first half where they were passing the ball between themselves. So like one touch, quick. They got an offside goal, but that was a warning sign, I think. And there were a couple of warning signs towards the end of that first half that I thought, if Villa don't up the intensity here, the crowd's gone quiet. On the pitch, we're not doing much. One or two players, when they're getting the ball in the final third, they're making the wrong decision. They're taking too many touches. There's not enough involvement from our attacking players in the final third. Or when a fullback gets forward, the delivery ain't there. So there were a lot of factors that I thought were slightly. Villa are clearly the better team, but Alkmaar have shown they have something here and they can cause some problems, and they're going to cause problems. And what happened? Second half, they beat the high line. Now, there's a few people I've seen saying that was too close to call and it should have been given as offside. I've looked at the angle. I do think it's a bit inconclusive. I'm not massively sure about it. I think a semi-automated offside would tell us, which is why it should just be in the game. But I'm not 100% convinced he was onside. But he'd made a couple of them runs leading up to the goal, finally got one right and got in one-on-one. And when you play the high line, obviously it's a risk you take. It's a calculated risk, and sometimes they are going to get through, and that's why you rely on Emi Martinez as made probably the best shot stopper in the world to bail you out quite a lot, and he made a few big saves tonight. Now, when Villa went 1-0 down, it was quiet. You started to think, is this going to be a bit like Everton in the Carabao Cup? The Everton game was one where, again, it wasn't our main starting 11. And again, with Warsaw, it was the same. There's been a couple of cup games in the last year where Villa, without that full strength starting 11, night games, we've not really been at it. The intensity's not there. But this is why Villa are made of different stuff now, isn't it? You look at that Villa bench and you can bring on Douglas Luiz. And my goodness. Such a beautiful sight. Deadly Douglas. It's like looking at Van Gogh's paintings. It's like gazing upon a glimmering ocean, the sun setting over it. You know the statue, the Christ the Redeemer in Rio de Janeiro, they might as well stick one of Douglas Luiz out there as well, because he's so beautiful. He's so divine on the pitch. The things he can do are so majestic and godlike. What a player. £100 million player. He is magnificent. Came on, dominated it. And so, the equaliser, what I'll say is this. We got incredibly lucky with that. I think Alkmaar may have got a bit lucky with their goal. It may have been offside. And the Clement Longley goal not counting again. Rode the luck with that one. But that was not a corner, was it? No. Quite amazing it got given as a corner. I mean, in fairness, Kamara should have scored it. But yes, I think look, whipped ball into the box and Diego Carlos scores, and I'm delighted for Diego Carlos. It's been a very difficult road for him to recovery. But great for him to get the goal. A little bit out of nothing, just a whipped ball into the box, and we got it. Very much got a luck there. We can't discount that. We got very lucky with that. But then the momentum was with us, wasn't it? And Douglas Luiz took control of that game. And that second goal, that is the Aston Villa we have come to know and love under Professor Unai Emery. Where to start with it? Passing the ball around at the back. Patience. You get the ball. You don't panic. You don't whip it over there. You don't knock it long because you're scared. No, you pass it back and forth between your defenders. Pass it out wide. And if there's no ball on, don't be afraid to go back to your goalkeeper. What is it with so many players in world football that don't understand the goalkeeper is an outfield player as well, if you want him to be? He's an option. So Villa pass it around at the back for a while, right? Works its way in to the midfield. And Ollie Watkins, who's had a very quiet night and he's following on from a quiet game against Nottingham Forest. It's a similar night where he's had centre-backs, physical centre-backs on him all night. He's moved around a lot. He's been trying to link up a lot. He's been doing all the ugly stuff. And that is what marks him out as a striker, isn't it? That's what marks him out as so magnificent, because he finally gets his moment where the ball comes into his feet. He holds it up in very difficult circumstances. And trust me, I think that's the hardest bloody thing to do in football, holding it up back to goal with a tough bloody centre-back on you. It's what I couldn't get past it. It's what, it's an amazing skill that strikers can do it. Holds it up, gets the touch, gets it out wide to Bailey. And Bailey, who's been a bit hit and miss tonight, he showed his confidence. His confidence levels are very high, but there were one or two occasions he made the wrong call or he took one too many touches, but he got it just right, whipped it into Kamara. Kamara then onto Douglas Luiz. And Luiz picking out an absolutely, just ratatouille. You know, the movie, 5-star Michelin star meal of a ball into Ollie Watkins, who's made a fantastic run, showing why he's getting picked for England, showing why he's, the main man for us up top. Gets in, heads it home. Absolutely amazing. It was just start to finish. Patience, build up, good wing play, lovely ball from a top class midfielder in Douglas Luiz, and super movement from Ollie Watkins, who I think Watkins and Douglas Luiz deserve massive credit for that goal. And then the modern day Villa, we don't let Alkmaar come back at us. We're patient on the ball for the last 10 minutes. Hold it. Don't really put ourselves in trouble. So confident, so calm on the ball in the last 10 minutes. So got the win, much needed, brilliant. Straight shootout now, Legia Warsaw to win that group pretty much. And we got them at Villa Park in a week or two. What I would say, other observations, I do think Alkmaar and Nottingham Forest have showed a formula that Villa are going to have to get used to, that other teams are going to play, and it's a formula I think Fulham are going to do. Marco Silva teams are going to do this. Pragmatic Marco Silva teams are going to sit back and try and hit you on the break. And I should imagine, who's the striker they'll do it to? I don't know if they've got a quick striker to get in behind, really, Fulham. I don't know if Vinicius is that, but Willian's going to try and do it for them. Out on the wing, Harry Wilson will try and do it. But Fulham are a good... They're defensively, Marco Silva teams are actually quite good, I think. Going forward against Manchester United the other day, they were really poor. And they didn't like playing it around at the back. And if you put them under pressure high up, then they give the ball away. And they've done it against Tottenham. They did it against Manchester United. So Villa, again, should look out for that. If Fulham are playing it around at the back, put them under pressure. Put them under pressure because they will make a mistake at some point. But they will also try and do what Alkmaar did and what Nottingham Forest did. And that is just try and suck up the pressure, low block, win it back. And when they win it back, the striker time that run from deep, go in. Just give yourself a couple of yards to break that high line and you might do something. But Villa again tonight, as we did against Forest, as we always seem to do, that high line catches teams offside over and over and over again because we play it really well. I love the high line. Now, one other observation I had, and this is one that might not be popular, but I'm going to say this again and again and again and again. We miss Alex Moreno. That handsome, chiseled jaw, Spanish model beauty. The way he gets down that wing, beats a man and cuts it back. It's what Guardiola teams do, right? It's what Arsenal do. And what I observed at Zielinski Mostar against the low block, what I observed against Forest, and what I observed again against tonight with Alkmaar, is that when Dean gets into those positions in the final third, I'm not saying I dislike Dean as a player. I'm just saying that in attack, I believe Moreno is a much more dynamic player. He effectively plays in attack like a midfielder. And when he gets past a man and pulls it back, it's almost like he's aiming at somebody like Jacob Ramsey coming in, which is why our left-hand side was so dangerous last season, why it's so gutting that both Ramsey and Moreno have been missing pretty much all season so far. I just think that it's more pinpoint and more dangerous for Villa when Moreno's on the pitch. And I think that what Dean tends to do is he's not massively confident of being a man, but when he does get into that final third, his natural inclination is to whip a ball into the box. Now, he's a very good crosser of the ball, but I just think the cross is a bit more of a lottery than a pinpoint low ball to a striker who maybe has held his run. Instead of, this is what could happen, right? Moreno gets here to the final, to the byline. Ramsey's coming in from deep, or Joel McGinn's coming in from deep, and he can whip it back, and the two of them can hit it in. Or you've got Ollie Watkins coming across, getting in front of his man, goal. Or you can have it where Ollie Watkins, instead of running that way, Watkins can stand his run. That's what I was taught as a kid. I remember that one of the best things I got taught by a coach was don't just run to the line, stand there. And you would not believe how often defenders run all the way back towards their keeper, and then the striker just stops there and then pull it back. You got an extra second of space. It's amazing. Amazing. Mark Fogarty taught me that. Mark Fogarty's academy in Birmingham City Centre. Fantastic academy, I tell you. I don't know if it's still going. I think he moved on to Solihull Moors, but I'm rambling on anyway. But look, what I will say is this. I do think Villa miss a dynamic fullback at the moment. And that is, again, I'm not getting at Dean and Cash. I just think Moreno offers something a little bit more in the final third than they both do against low block teams. That's all I'm saying. But look, a fantastic comeback. That goal came late in the game. It could very well have gotten away from us, and it could have even stung us in the tail with a 2-0. The pressure could have got to us, but we found a way of winning, and that's a good habit to get into. But I tell you what, isn't a good habit to get into is to just be a bit like Forest and Alkmaar tonight, where in the final third for quite long periods, things didn't look quite, the rhythm wasn't quite there. But it will come. I'm sure it will, because more games to come. But Fulham, I think, might follow a similar pattern to Alkmaar. I think they'll sit deep, try and hit us on the break. So just got to try and tear them apart, as we did to say somebody like an Everton earlier this season. But look, Villa did it again. What a team. What a club. Up the mighty Villa.